Hi guys. So I'm doing my books I love about tough topics, but I'm doing it in a new place. Today I am at Lake Cowichan. My mom lives up on Lake Cowichan. I grew up on Vancouver Island. I'm from Victoria, so um, once or twice a summer I get the boys out here. So they're listening to my mom read Witches right now by Roald Dahl, which also is an amazing book. But the book I'm going to talk about today is Bring the Joy: How Following the Nudges of Your Heart Leads to an Abundant Life by Jessica Janzen. Now, this is a tough topic because I came across Jessica because of her son. She had a son named Lewiston. She has 3 kids, but her son Lewiston passed away actually on November 22nd, which is both my boys' birthdays. I found that out when I was reading this, and that stood out to me a little bit. But he was about 6 months old when he passed away, and he had spinal muscular atrophy, SMA. And so they've got a foundation, the Love for Lewiston Foundation, where they're supporting places like the Alberta Children's Hospital Foundation and the Rotary Flames House. Now, Jessica and her family actually live in Calgary. I haven't met Jessica, but we've got a couple people in common. So there's a picture of Lewiston. Pretty adorable. I do have to mention that this has become a lake book. I apologize, Jessica. It has gotten wet, but I've enjoyed reading it, so I did want to talk about it today with all its like crumpled up wetness and all. So there's a whole bunch of things. This book goes way back to when she was just getting out of high school. It tells stories of her family. But the part that always stands out to me is parts about what's happened once a child has been diagnosed and things like that. So there's a couple sections I want to read to you out of here. There's a lot more than this that stood out to me, but just a few I'm going to start with. So one of the things she talks about on page 147 is that how hard things can get you down. But she says this: I'm here to remind you that in brokenness, there's always healing. Fractures are an opportunity for more light to come in. Feel your pain fully. Don't try to mask it. Crumble, cry, scream if you have to, but then get up. You have the strength to. You know you do. You've missed hurdles before. Life has tripped you up before, and you got up. Look for that something nudging you to get up and dust yourself off. The nudge is stronger than defeat. You are resilient. Throughout the book, at the end of each chapter, Jessica has this section. And so she's got a little section about the nudge, she's got a section about the choice, and she's got a section of the joy. I actually, as I was running through these, I had so many of these earmarked that I decided I was just going to talk about one. But I really like the way she ties up chapters like that and just thinks about what got her moving in a different direction. Like, for example, chapter 13 is called The Pact, the nudge to know your vision. And then she refers back to that nudge, kind of the choices you have between things and how you can show the joy there. Another section that I really resonated with me. I do photograph palliative families. We have been in hospital a number of times with our own son, and rounds are something that any medical family knows. And so in this, she's talking about how the doctors are always coming, they're always rehashing the fact that her son is dying. And this is what she said to her medical team one day: my son is dying, or at least that's what's written in the charts you hold. There's not a medication, no treatment, no cure. So if this is the case and you are all right, can we at least make this fun? This is depressing enough. This is hard enough. I'm going to read you a page from my favorite kids book, and then you are going to speak in a language I can understand and have a dance party. I just thought that was amazing. She talks about after that how people were laughing and enjoying the book, which was the day the crayons quit, that it became more of an uplifting time where the team would come in. She says at one point she had like funny glasses with mustaches and noses for them to wear during rounds, and it became something that wasn't so depressing every single day. Rounds happen Monday to Friday. It's part of hospital life, and it is important for all the team to know what's going on, but at the same time, it doesn't have to be as negative an experience as it often is. Another part of the book, she talks about getting photographs. We made Lewiston's life matter. We documented all the moments, and our photographer who did his newborn photos Liz of Spruce and Sparrow, ended up visiting us frequently to capture his life, our life. Regardless of how messy and unpicture perfect it felt, she captured it perfectly, and she never asked for anything in return. This is what I think is so important for families, getting those everyday moments captured, getting that time together captured, not the, I got my hair done, I'm ready to go. I mean, those pictures are fun and beautiful and I love them too, but that everyday style of photography I think is really important. I'm so glad that was brought up in this book. Another part, again, I have circled here, November 22nd, 2016, that's when Lewiston passed away, and it just one of those weird coincidences. But he had been in the hospice by the Alberta Children's Hospital, and here's what she writes about that. Lewiston changed things in that hospice. I even wrote an email a year later with all of the ideas for areas of improvement, including hosting more dance parties. I've received notes from several members of the team saying that he reminded them to have some fun. Dealing with death is serious, but in it, you can see the beauty and the joy, and yes, you can even find moments to celebrate. We saw a lot of kids pass away during our time there. I think my faith is so strong and solid because one of the greatest gifts ever given to me is grace from God and a hope in heaven. I'm not religious in any way. This book does talk about God and Jesus quite a lot. I am, to each their own. Like, if that's your thing, that's awesome. For me, it's not my thing. So there was times where I had to get past that a little bit. But in the end, this book is really worth it. So if religion in books turns you off, this might be a harder pill to swallow. But yeah, but I think it's well worth the read. I also wanted to talk about how she talks about her family. So her husband, Hot Ronnie, who I would like to meet someday just to be like, oh, there's Hot Ronnie. But she also talks about other people in her family and the toll it took on them. They had an older daughter when Lewiston passed away. She was not a lot older. They were like within a year kind of thing. And her parents were there a lot to help out with their daughter, Swayze. But she talks about her mom. And she said, my mom confessed that losing a grandchild is like a double loss. You not only lose a grandchild, but you're watching your own child suffer through the loss. My mom came to the hospice every day to look after Swayze, do the laundry, get us meals, bring hot coffees, and sit with me. Just being there as a support system. I think that the hardest part about grief is not knowing how long it will last. And I think that's something that I've talked about with my family a bit. Just that their story is different than my story. And I can't always be the person that they turn to for support, depending on where we are in our journey, but that they also need to find supports. We also talked about this a little bit with Christy Sanchuk's book and the theory where you have to turn to an outer ring to get support. So if you want to look back at that, that's in Loose Threads was the name of her book. The other thing I really liked about Jessica's book was near the end. It says, navigating grief and helping families walk through trauma and illness. Things not to do. And it is like word for word a list of things that were a terrible idea that people did for them. I think this is going to be different for different people, but I actually really enjoyed that section of the book. Guys, I think this is well worth the read. She has been sharing her life, sharing this experience, supporting families that have SMA now, supporting the Children's Hospital. There's a lot of things that she's doing that's inspiring me right now. So find her, Jessica Janzen. She's on Instagram. She's on Facebook. Go check out her book. Check out the Lewiston label and Love for Lewiston as well. So thanks, Jessica.